Hello and welcome. I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top headlines. Tsunami waves reached Hawaii after an 8.8 magnitude earthquake off Russia's coast, with a 4-foot wave recorded in Oahu. Millions in Japan, Russia and the US West Coast have been ordered to evacuate. Families of Israeli hostages in Gaza have condemned the UK's plan to recognise a Palestinian state, calling it a validation of terrorism. The move comes as a UN-backed food security body warns of famine in Gaza, despite aid lorries crossing into the region. US and Chinese officials have agreed to seek an extension of their 90-day tariff truce after 2 days of constructive talks in Stockholm. Both sides aim to defuse the escalating trade war that threatens global growth. Thailand has accused Cambodian forces of violating a ceasefire agreement at 3 locations along the disputed border. The allegations come just days after both countries agreed to a ceasefire to end the deadliest conflict in over a decade. President Donald Trump said India could face up to 25% tariffs if a deal is not reached by August the 1st. US-India trade negotiations have been underway, with officials expressing both optimism and caution. Shanghai has evacuated 283,000 people from coastal and low-lying areas as Typhoon Komei approaches, bringing heavy rains and strong winds. Flight cancellations have also been reported amid the storm. The Trump administration has urged judges to release testimony heard by grand juries that indicted Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on sex trafficking charges. The Justice Department seeks court approval to make the confidential transcripts public. At least 6 people were killed in clashes between South Sudan and Uganda near their shared border. 5 South Sudanese soldiers were killed in exchanges on fire in Kaji County in South Sudan. Now, in the latest development, Colombia has ordered evacuations along its Pacific coast after a massive earthquake in Russia's far east triggered tsunami warnings across the region. Waves have been recorded in California with 1.6 feet above tide level observed at Arena Cove. The US National Weather Service confirms the tsunami has reached the coast and is moving south. Hawaii is also on high alert, with all flights to and from Kalulu Airport now closed. In the Pacific Islands, the US Embassy has issued a tsunami threat alert for Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. Authorities worldwide remain on high alert. Okay, we are reporting on this 8.8 magnitude earthquake that has shaken Russia's east and has caused tsunami warnings throughout the world. This came after this morning where the tsunami of 3.5 meters reached the Kamchatka Peninsula. There is now wide caution of aftershocks throughout the region and throughout the world in that specific Pacific area. This powerful earthquake, which was at 8.8 magnitude, has sparked evacuation orders as far away as Hawaii and across the Pacific earlier today. This shallow earthquake damaged buildings and injured people in these remote Russian regions, while much of Japan's eastern seaboard devastated by a 9.0 magnitude earthquake and tsunami in 2011 was also ordered to evacuate. There's been reports from around the world are viewing these waves coming in, although there has been no casualties linked yet so far. People are bracing for impact. As I said previously, these warnings have been issued for Japan, Hawaii, the US West Coast, and other Pacific nations, including Indonesia, Japan, Papua New Guinea, all of these places. Let's now move on. We will continue to bring you all updates as we get them. Okay, now let's go through these alerts now. We have different levels here, which are telling us all the different alerts that have been issued throughout the world. Now we can see 3+ feet or 1 meter high tsunamis. They warrant a red warning level alert, as we saw 1.5 meters earlier today, seen in Hawaii. There has been triggered tsunami waves up to 5 meters, once again in the red, as far away as Hawaii on Wednesday. And so yes, let's now move on. Okay, apologies. We are joined by O.P. Mishra, who's a director at National Seismology Center in India. He joins us live in New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. How significant was this earthquake here that rattled Russia's Far East and now is being felt throughout the entire Pacific region in terms of magnitude and depth? I believe we have some network problems. Apologies. Hopefully we get OP joining us very soon. These tsunami warnings have been issued throughout the Pacific region, including from Hawaii to the west coast of the United States, which first struck that eastern area of Russia. 8.8 magnitude, hit in a remote area, its epicenter. Its depth had a depth of 13 miles or 20.7 kilometers. Japan has been evacuated, Papua New Guinea. We're now joined by O.P. Mishra once again. Hopefully the network issues have been solved. Thank you very much for joining us. How significant was this earthquake that rattled Russia's Far East in terms of magnitude and depth?
Yeah, it is very significant because if you see that it is the falling on the great magnitude earthquake that is 8 above, and it occurred below the ocean, so it is sub-oceanic earthquake. But the occurrence of the earthquake in the depth wise is also not much deeper. It is 19 to 20 kilometers. So it was a tsunami-genic earthquake. Of course, it has generated a tsunami wave, but the different height, of course, because it depends many factors that how the tsunami heights will be controlled. So in the entire countries in the Pacific Ring of Fire, all given the warning that this is a tsunami-genic earthquake, and they all allotted. But this earthquake in east coast of the Kamchatka is quite natural because it occurred on the subduction complex where the Kuril Islands, the Sakhalins and the Aleutian Islands, that all are the interconnected, and the one plate is going down over the other plate. So this is a very competent and complex tectonics where the occurrences of the past tsunami-genic earthquake has already occurred. If you see in this month of July, the shallow earthquake of magnitude 7.27 has occurred in the east coast of the Kamchatka. We recorded that. So that means the sustainability of the too much stress accumulation was not beyond the 8.5. So that's why the rock ruptured, and then it happens a great earthquake 8.5.
O.P. Mishra, I just want to put this in straight terms. Should people be worried in the region? Are these evacuations warranted? And how does this compare with past earthquakes in the Pacific?
Yeah, actually, according to the Tsunami Early Warning System Consortium, the entire members have their own SOP. Once the magnitude 7.5 onwards is used to occur, then there was the warning to each and every member of the Pacific tsunami warning, and they take their the precautions. If this is the house which has cracks and some development or shaking, too much shaking felt, they then try to evacuate the places, or if this is the any nuclear plant, they try to take the precautions, extra precautions, so that secondary disaster should not happen. So I think the people, whatever the precautions they have taken of evacuations, as well as whatever the steps they have taken, is the common natural for the, as per the SOP of the countries, coastal countries, who had already experienced of the past tsunami-genic earthquake. You remember that in 1952, when the Kamchatka earthquake happens, there is a lot of the tsunami happens there. So this is all demarcated zone. Of course, the disasters or the amount of the or extent of the loss is dictated by whether the precautionary measures like tsunami wall is there or not. But if you see the Japan, that was the Hokkaido regions, means Sendai and all, they have a lot of the precautionary measure for tsunami walls. And you remember that in the 2011, 11th March, when the tsunami-genic earthquake 9 magnitude happened, then the tsunami was only 15 meters height, but the tsunami wave was more than 15 meters. That's why the disasters happens. So the people learned a lot from the past tsunami-genic earthquake. Their preparedness and preventions measures is very much improved. They have now the advanced technology and communications. The people are very much aware of the almost all coastal countries. So I think this is the testament of the precautionary and mitigating measures taken by coastal people.
Okay, OP Mishra, thank you very much for joining us on the program. And we here on NewsX World will, of course, bring you all updates on that developing situation. However, we move on to more news concerning the Middle East, where Britain has rejected criticism that it was rewarding Hamas by setting out plans to recognize a Palestinian state unless Israel takes steps to improve the situation in Gaza. This comes as a hunger monitor warned that a worst-case scenario of famine was unfolding in Gaza and that an immediate action was needed to avoid widespread death. Starmer's declaration sets a September deadline for Israel, which drew sharp criticism from his counterparts in the country, who said that the plans to recognize a Palestinian state were a reward for Hamas. Trump has also stated that he did not think that Hamas should be rewarded with recognition of a Palestinian state. When asked about the criticism, the British Transport Minister said that it was not the right way to characterise the UK's plan. The minister further added that pressure needs to be ramped up on the Israeli government in order to get aid into Gaza. Successive British governments have said they would recognise a Palestinian state when it was most effective to do so. Meanwhile, France's foreign minister posted on X that France and 14 other Western countries have called on countries worldwide to move to recognise a Palestinian state. This comes following a conference aimed at reviving the two-state solution for Israel and for Palestine. We're now joined by Ali M. Bushback. He's a Middle East researcher. He joins us live from Cairo. Ali, what do you think about this situation? Obviously, it's not just the Israeli government who are branding this a reward for Hamas, but this isn't the only criticism here for particularly the United Kingdom's plan. What do you think Keir Starmer's end goal is here, especially offering the fact that if Israel doesn't have a ceasefire if Israel does have a ceasefire by September, the UK will no longer recognise it?
Thank you, Joshua. It's a good news that United Kingdom is going to recognize Palestine as a statehood. Particularly this country, the Balfour Declaration belongs to this country. That the declaration have been giving the Zionists the promise to establish their statehood in Palestine in 1917. So it has a huge and significant symbolic for the Palestinian and for the justice in the Middle East. I guess that the backlash from the Israeli ministers that it's giving the terrorism awards that by recognizing it's just make it's like it's presenting just only their outrage and because they fail in the diplomatic way and diplomacy by manipulating the international community and public opinion about the war in Gaza and as a response for 7th of October. And we have witnessed the crime that the Israeli IDF have been committed for the civilians, and recently the famine in Gaza and the starvation, which it's a considered as a dynamic leading the it's leading the international community to recognize the Palestine. Emmanuel Macron has been taking this initiative, and also he today the foreign minister of French foreign minister he considered and he confirmed that there is a more than 15 countries they are going to join recognizing Palestine. Previously, Spain and Belgium have been recognized, and Swedes also recognized Palestine as a statehood. This is a symbolic symbolic for Palestinians that they have a right for their lands and they have a right to their self-determination.
Yes.
Especially Israel occupation have been expanded the settlement in West Bank, and they are going to. They are talking about the settlement in Gaza. We have seen that the minister Ben-Gvir, he's confirming that they are going to establish settlement in Gaza, despite it's considered as illegal according to United Nations Security Council. In 2017,
Ali, can I just interrupt you? Apologies. How important was it that Keir Starmer include the West Bank settlement expansion statements in his message, in his terms?
That's considered that Israelis settlement, despite that I said the United Nations Security Council in 2016 considered the Israeli settlement in the Palestinian territory is illegal, but that's giving the Palestinian right to quote Israelis minister who's claiming and who's demanding for the settlement in Palestinian territories. And that's also make the Palestinian right for sue the Israelis ministers that who's joined in such kind of a statement and supporting. Today, more than 20 Israeli ministers, they are asking for entering Gaza and going to Gaza in the symbolic way to establish the settlement in Gaza, which consider illegally. This is the plan for Smotrich that also Ben-Gvir, the two far right wing in Israel, which that Israeli community and public in Israel consider it as a shame for the Israelis. And we have seen several of news media and media show in Israeli media show that lambast Israelis minister who's giving such kind of a statement and consider it as isolating Israel from international community and showing the fascism of Israel. Despite there is an Israel community, there is some people supporting the peace, supporting the two-state solution as a significant solution for this conflict. In my opinion, this part of two-state solution, and this is also a 242 resolution from United Nations in after the war in 1967 have been considered a significant solution for Israeli-Palestinian conflict is establishing two-state solution.
Yes, Ali M. Bushback, apologies, we have run out of time, but thank you for your insight as always. Let's now move over to Southeast Asia, where tensions are flaring up again on the Thai-Cambodian border just 2 days after a ceasefire was brokered by Malaysia and the United States. Thailand's military accused Cambodian forces of violating that agreement for a second time after alleged attacks at 3 separate sites in Sisaket province. The Thai army spokesman said Cambodian troops used small arms and grenade launchers, prompting a self-defense response from Thai forces. The ceasefire was meant to end the region's deadliest conflict in over a 5-day battle that left at least 43 dead and over 300,000 displaced. Cambodia, however, has denied the accusations, calling them false and pushing for independent observers to monitor the border. Meanwhile, a high-level military meeting, including defense ministers from both nations, is still scheduled for August the 4th in Cambodia. We're now joined by Dr. Kin Phia. He's a Director General of the International Relations Institute of Cambodia in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Phia.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Thailand, of course, has accused Cambodia of violating this ceasefire twice now. What led to these accusations or these violations, and how does Cambodia respond to these claims?
Yes, let me make it clear that the whole world has been closely watching to see who has sincerely implemented the ceasefire agreement reached by Cambodian government and Thai government under the mediations of Malaysia as a agent with the United States and China serving as witnesses. Cambodia is a nation committed to peace. We have been fully honored and implement the ceasefire, but Thai side itself has not upheld the end of the deal and failed to implement the ceasefire, but it has seamlessly shifted blame onto Cambodia in an attempt to justify its own violations. Yesterday, early morning, Thai soldiers used a very dirty tactic to capture 20 Cambodian soldiers at the border. They just invited Cambodian soldiers to have a negotiation, and then they detained 20 Cambodian soldiers, and 2 soldiers have been killed by the Thai soldier, and 2 ran away. So it is clear that the Thai side manipulated the violations of the ceasefires. Cambodian people, government, and military are very happy to have ceasefire. We love peace. We hate war very much, and we've seen that the ceasefire is a very good foundation to peace. We need a peaceful border for cooperation, for prosperity of both people. Cambodia is smaller states in terms of economics, military strength, populations, and size. How can a smaller country invade a bigger one? It's nonsense that claimed by Thai side. We strictly and consistently uphold the international law, the treaty signed by the 2 parties, and we have never been provoked any war or any clash. But the Thai side seamlessly accused Cambodia because they use the international media, they use the manipulating media in the country to distort the truth. And this morning, a delegation of military attaché of foreign embassies in Cambodia, led by a Malaysian attaché, went to the ground and they witnessed what's happening there. So this is the baseless and unfounded accusation made by the Thai side.
Okay, Dr. Phia, finally, because we don't have much time left, how does this dispute affect broader ASEAN regional cooperation and security?
If the instability happens between countries, neighboring countries, it will cause instability the region at large and as well as the world as well. I think if we cannot find the peace and stability between neighboring countries, I think the ASEAN unity, ASEAN solidarity, and ASEAN's centrality are also hurt by this border conflict, or I can say this is the war of invasion that waged by the Thai militaries to claim the territory by using their unilateral drawn map.
Yes, Dr. Kian Phia, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We now move on. China has accused Taiwan's leaders of turning their own people into cannon fodder. Beijing slammed Taiwan's recent military drills as a provocation. This comes as Taiwan held 10 days of Han Kuang exercises this month, which included urban combat training against a potential Chinese invasion. China has called the drills a show, warning Taipei's ruling party that their evil plot will fail and unjust deeds will bring destruction. Take a listen in to what the Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman Zhang Xiaogang had to say.
汉光演习就是演戏作秀，改变不了台独必亡的下场。演得越多，越暴露出民进党当局打着保台的旗号害台毁台，裹挟民众当炮灰的邪恶图谋。
Meanwhile, Taiwan says 33 Chinese warplanes entered its airspace on Wednesday alongside naval patrols harassing its borders. This comes as tensions remain high over Taiwan's status, with Beijing threatening force to reunite the island. We're now joined by Ambassador Suresh Goel. He's a former Indian diplomat joining us live from New Delhi. Ambassador Goel, the tensions are once again rising between the two countries. China, of course, claiming Taiwan as its own and saying that these war games are a violation. What are your thoughts on how this situation is escalating?
I'm afraid that while initially President Trump might have given the indication of continuing with the traditional Taiwan policy, in his keenness, anxiety to reach a trade agreement with China, that he may actually tweak the policy a little bit or compromise on the policy with Taiwan, even though that would be actually quite, I would say, unheard of and rather surprising, but it's not at all unlikely. What China has said about Taiwan and then again about the policies, China has, as you said earlier, that the policy or the stated aim to integrate Taiwan as a part of China by 2050. And China will do all possible attempts, including using military means if it has to. So far, USA has been a kind of security guarantor for Taiwan. And now we will need to see whether USA, considering that they have cancelled the visit of Taiwan to the USA in view of the pending trade talks, obviously there is a bit of a change. So let us see how it evolves further. But it's going to be very interesting to watch how President Trump deals with Taiwan now.
Yes, Ambassador Suresh Goel, thank you very much. You are staying with us. The United States has reportedly cancelled a planned meeting with Taiwan's Defense Minister, Wellington Koo. He was expected to hold talks in June with US defense official Elbridge Colby near Washington. But according to reports, the meeting was called off at the last minute. The move signals growing concern that President Trump may be hesitant to risk US-China ties by deepening security engagement with Taiwan. The White House and the Pentagon have yet to comment. We're once again joined by Ambassador Goel. Ambassador, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think the US is increasingly concerned over its relationship with China and is prepared to risk things when it comes to Taiwan?
What is clear to me is that President Trump of the USA is very keen to have a bilateral trade agreement with China, including tariffs, so that USA is able to get exports into the Chinese market and they come to a satisfactory solution on the trade front. For Trump, what drives the policy toward China is trade and trade and trade and nothing else really. In that process, Taiwan, which has been the part of the security structure in South China Seas in that area, could actually get some changes. And therefore, I'm not surprised at all that the visit of the defense minister from Taiwan was cancelled or was postponed, whatever it is, in view of the pending talks with China on the trade front. I will really wait to see if Trump is back to the traditional policies on Taiwan once a trade agreement has been signed or not, because it's actually quite open at present. Thomas.
Yes, thank you, Ambassador Goa, for joining us on the programme and discussing that with us. Well, that is all that we have time for, but we will continue to bring you more news updates from around the world. Thank you.